Take a girl and a guy, and they fall madly in love and form a family. Sprinkle in some counseling degrees and a doctorate, a dream of transforming relationships as we know it. And 20 years later, we give you power couple Dr. Ray and Jean Kadkodian. And this is their podcast, Couples Synergy.
And welcome back to another episode of Couples Synergy with Dr. Ray and Jean. Hi, I'm Dr. Ray.
Hi, I'm Jean, and this is our podcast about love, marriage, and relationships.
Please check us out online at couplesynergy.com or on Facebook and Instagram at Couples Synergy. And please subscribe to our podcast and leave us a review or send us any suggestions on topics you'd like to hear more about. And now on to Couples Synergy, an in-depth look at love, marriage, and relationships, where we bring you our experience helping thousands of couples transform their relationships for over 20 years.
You know, everyone says you should work on your relationship, but nobody teaches us how. So we've created this podcast to teach people what they can do to create the relationship they've always dreamed of
with the partner they fell in love with. On today's episode, we are talking about the 5 things that can hurt your partner the most.
And you may not be aware of how much you hurt them.
Yeah, right. Some of them might sound a little self-explanatory, but I think we're going to go into depth on each of them just so that we can, thoroughly explore these areas that can really hurt your partner. And sometimes, like Jean said, you might not even be aware.
And some kind of seem okay.
Yeah, that's true. Before we do that,
we had a really cool day.
Yeah, we found a new venue.
A weekend intensive.
For the weekend intensive for 2023.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredibly beautiful.
Right. This is going to be
in the mountains.
Epic.
It's like a high-end lodge in the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
All the luxury, all the beauty, and just a perfect environment to really have a retreat.
Yeah, we're going to be putting all those details together, and we'll be updating the website in regards to the weekend intensives that will be hosted for 2023. So stay tuned so that you can get that information.
Yeah, we're going to have a few options. One is the 4-day weekend, and the other one is going to be a workshop, like a 1-day workshop, and that gives people different price points and maybe opportunities that work in their life.
And
lifestyle.
If you want to get started right now, learning some of the tools and skills and everything, there's always Relationship 101, our video module home study course for couples,
which in and of itself, it will change your relationship for sure.
Absolutely. We are getting so much great feedback from people left and right about it.
And we've started to write the book, so look for that in February.
Okay, so let's get on to the 5 things that can hurt your partner the most. The first thing would be?
I really want to talk about this one, and that is omission.
Omission. And this is going to be distinct from lying.
Yes.
Specifically. So omitting, like just keeping something from your partner. I would have to say that 9 times out of 10, the omission is because maybe they don't want to hurt their partner or they don't want to make their partner angry.
And they're not proud of what the thing is.
Right. I should say they're not proud of doing it.
Yeah.
Right?
So maybe they spent money without letting their partner know, or they
went to lunch with someone and they didn't tell their partner about that lunch meeting. It could be innocuous, but maybe your partner doesn't like that person that you went to lunch with.
Well, the thing is, it's like if you don't want to share it, you should probably think about if you should do it.
Right. There's obviously something wrong with it. It is something, I would say, if put on paper, it may not look like it's a big deal or may not look like it's a problem, but there's something inside of you that's saying that this is a problem or will be a problem for my partner if they know about it.
I think it's actually a battle you're having within yourself. Because your partner doesn't know, you're the one that chose to not share it. So there's something in you that's choosing that, that has some type of alternative feeling about the thing, which is why you're choosing not to share.
Right.
That you yourself don't feel comfortable with your choice.
Yeah.
You know, for me, that would be like spending too much time playing a game on my phone. You know, like I wouldn't be proud of that. I wish I was more productive or something. So I wouldn't want you to, you know, like if you were there, I would not do that. You know what I mean? Well,
I don't think you would omit that.
No, but I know
me.
it. But I know the battle within myself.
Big deal. Yeah.
Of feeling like I should be doing something else.
Yeah.
And if somebody else was watching, I would do something else. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's what I mean by the battle within yourself.
It reminds me of the time when I was growing up where, you know, my parents would get home or my dad would get home and you would like turn
scramble
the TV off.
Productive.
Yeah, scramble, look like you're studying or something like that, right? Yeah. Obviously, you know, there's something that you're not wanting to show your partner, and that's a problem. And that battle, as you said, is just kind of going on within yourself. And if there is a battle, then it's something to look at.
And I think at a deeper level, it's kind of a screw you. Like, I'm going to do what I want, and I'm not going to let you know. And so you don't get any opportunity to have a thought or even a support of the thing that I'm going to do. And it's sort of like the you do you thing.
Well, I would think that there's varying degrees with that.
Yeah.
Right? It's like if someone wanted to go golfing, and when they go golfing, their partner feels blown off or something. And so they do it anyway, and then they omit that.
Right.
So it's not like a
problem
behavior that you're doing, but it becomes a problem because you're not able to share that with your partner. You feel like if you do, it's going to cause an issue. And eventually it does.
And you know you're stealing time, energy, resources from the relationship that is imbalanced. Unbalanced?
Imbalanced. Yeah.
And that's why you admit it, because you know it. Because if you're okay with what you're doing, you'd be like, you know, you need to figure out how to deal with this because I golf and
it's important to me, and you know, it's a passion of mine. And obviously you're hiding it because you don't feel confident about explaining or talking to your partner about what is important to you. And if things are imbalanced, then you know you're not. You shouldn't be spending that time golfing anyway. There's a lot of different pieces to this, but it's that omission piece that's really the key, right? Because that when your partner finds out that you didn't tell them this piece of information, it is very painful.
And this is where it's similar to the second thing, which is lying.
Right.
Because when something's omitted or you're blatantly lied to, it's really puts you in a position of feeling very uncertain about what else don't I know?
Right.
Or what else do I think is true and isn't? And that creates a lot of uncertainty, which is very painful for human beings.
Yeah, because you're questioning the entire relationship. You're questioning who your partner is, and you're questioning, you know, who you are. Because who knows, maybe you might have made a different decision if you had known everything.
Right. And lying happens to have the ripple effect. That when you throw, you know, the pebble in the pond, it creates this ripple effect where those rings go out and out and out. And so the pebble might be small, but once the other person starts thinking, well, was this bogus? Was that bogus? Did you lie about this? Can I trust you? Like, it brings up like the whole Pandora's box.
Right.
And again, very, very, very painful for your partner when you're the one holding the cards, either because you have the truth that you've lied about or you have the information that you've omitted. You don't feel the pain of that.
Right. I mean, you may be feeling some other kind of pain.
I feel some guilt.
Yeah.
But you don't really understand the depth of pain, because when we are in a bonded, committed relationship, it pulls on us. And we're just designed that way. We are designed to feel and be impacted by what our partner does, whether we like to admit that or not, whether we think that's a weakness or a strength, whatever that is, it's there.
Yeah. Yeah. And, as I said earlier, some of these things may seem self-explanatory in these first two.
Well, especially
Definitely,
lying.
especially lying, right. The third,
Thoughtlessness.
And now let's take a little break to tell you a little bit more about our home study course called Relationship 101.
One of our passions is really to bring this work to everybody. And a lot of times what we hear is one person in the relationship is wanting to work on it, the other one is not. And so this is a great way for you guys to get a taste of what it is like to work on your relationship in a fun 8-date night video series to learn what you need to learn.
Yeah, Relationship 101 consists of 8 video modules, typically about 30 to 40 minutes long, with some discussion questions and exercises for couples to do together at the end. This is kind of a culmination of our work over 20 years and synthesizing all of the skills and tools necessary to create an amazing relationship. This online course consists of 8 modules, which is 5+ hours of course content. It also includes bonus resources, all designed to learn and grow together as a couple.
It's fun, it's insightful, and gives you a great excuse to spend some extra quality time with your partner.
All of this course content is valued at over $850. Currently now, it is priced at $387. And if you just go to go.couplesynergymethod.com/relationship101, it'll take you directly to the link. That's go.couplesynergymethod.com/relationship101.
And if you're a single person, you can still benefit from it.
So thoughtlessness, may come in the form of looking out for yourself. I think the example you used earlier was, if you went and got yourself a cup of coffee in the morning and then you didn't get your partner one, or even ask if they wanted one.
Yeah, we've worked with couples that don't say hello and goodbye to each other. So they don't know if their person's even in the house.
Yeah, they just leave.
They just leave. And it's not even like a thought that they would do that, because probably they grew up in a home where there was a lot of thoughtlessness, and so they never really developed that as a skill.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really interesting when we interview couples and we ask, what is it that your partner does that they love you? They always say the little things. And this is the reverse of that.
Is not attending to the little things.
Right. And you feel these little slights all the time when you're the person on the receiving end of it. Like, you went and got ice cream? Oh, I didn't think you wanted any. Or I didn't think to ask. So it's not like you're trying to be thoughtless, but you didn't consider them. And when they see that you've decided that and didn't ask, it hurts. It stings.
Yeah, it can also come in the form of your partner asking you to do something, or asking, for you to remind them about whatever it is. They're asking of something of you, and
yeah, can you go pick up the dry cleaning?
Right, and you blow it off.
Right.
It's like, oh, I forgot.
And this is something that we really don't do to people that we have a casual relationship with. If someone at work asked you to pick up a cup of coffee when you ran out, you wouldn't come back and be like, oops. You'd probably get the coffee, right?
Right.
Or whatever it is, we're back to coffee. But in casual relationships, we pay more attention to that, and we consider people. If you had a guest over in your house and you were going to go to bed, you wouldn't just leave. You would say goodnight.
Yeah, you would be thoughtful about your house guest. And
you wouldn't just eat dinner.
Right. If their needs are met, do they need another blanket or whatever? You are thinking about them and having them at the top of your mind. And so when you are thoughtless about your partner, not considerate of them, they are not on the top of your mind. And so you feel this lack of partnership.
It reminds me of stocks, like the stock market. And you can buy some stocks and they're sitting at a certain dollar amount. And then you look back later and it just dropped. And you thought, nothing happened, right? I didn't do anything, but all of a sudden my investment is worth less.
Yeah.
And the same thing is true in the other direction, where if you become thoughtful, your investment gets higher. That's a lot of bang for your buck in terms of feeling more connected and closer to your partner. And it's a lot of bang for your buck in the opposite direction of the damage that it causes. And so maybe you could play a game with yourself. Like there's something random that, like every time I see a squirrel, I don't know, I'm going to reach out and do something thoughtful for my partner. Like something that's going to sort of remind you that you're not alone in the world and that those little touch points are really important. And maybe you send a text and be like, hey, I'm thinking about you, or whatever it is.
Well, out here in Colorado, it should be a prairie dog instead of a squirrel.
Or an eagle.
If it was a prairie dog, you'd be thinking of your partner all the time because they're everywhere. Oh, my gosh.
It might be something else that, something that's purple that calls your attention or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But, thoughtfulness is a skill. It is something that, if we had certain parents that really taught that skill. And I remember going to my friends' houses and it was a big adjustment for me because it was like these unwritten rules I didn't know about, and so this one house, if you walked into a room, you had to say, hello, Mr. Cunningham.
Right.
And you didn't just say hi. You had to say the Mr. Cunningham part. And, we have a staff member that if you walk in the room, he stands up. And that's something that he learned. You could see him as a little boy being taught that.
He is like from way back when.
Yeah, he's in his 70s. But those are the kind of things that, when you walk into a room and someone comes up to you and shakes your hand and says hello, introduces themselves, that's so much more thoughtful and feels good.
Well, you feel important.
Yeah, and thought about. As opposed to walking in a room and everyone sort of doesn't stop their conversation, doesn't acknowledge you, and you kind of feel like you have to barge in and it feels crappy.
Right. Like if you walked into a room full of people and you were ignored. Mm-hmm. So I actually had this experience. Actually, when I went into town, I went to a store and I walked in there and there were 3 people there. There was someone attending to a customer, and then another person who was working behind the desk, and the bell went off in the door, and they even looked up and saw me, and then they continued to go back to their conversation, and I stood there for like 5 minutes.
Wow.
And I was like, do people see me? Am I here? Right? And so it's that feeling that if you are not seen, not considered.
And how easy would it be to be like, hello, I'll be with you in a minute.
I'll be with you. Yeah. Just hang on a second. I'll just
Take
be
your
right
time.
with you. Right. So
you feel welcome.
It's the acknowledgement, right? And every time you don't consider your partner, you're not acknowledging them.
Yeah, you're not welcoming them into this relationship. You are pushing them out.
Yeah. The fourth thing that is very painful in a relationship and to your partner, public ridicule.
Yeah. Public ridicule.
And everyone knows a couple like this.
Absolutely.
They're out with them and one of them makes fun of their partner in public.
And it's usually pretty consistently. It's not just like a one-time jab. And it's almost like they're trying to rally people to say, like, look at how great I am and how crappy my partner is, and they should change to treat me better.
How ridiculous my partner is.
Yeah.
Right? Or what a moron, or how,
But really, you're the one that looks like
unintelligent.
a jerk.
Oh, yeah. It's very uncomfortable.
Yeah. Name calling.
Yeah, and nobody's laughing along with you.
No.
They're just, even if someone is like chuckling a little bit along with you, inside they're like, oh, this is really terrible. It's really terrible to say about your partner like that.
It's embarrassing and it's very shameful, and it's a manipulation that is you can't even imagine how painful it is. And most people do that because they're uncomfortable in their own relationship and they're not tending to it privately, and they get in public and they think they're right. This is the whole Jerry Springer show.
For those that remember the Jerry Springer show.
Right. And they go on this show and they talk about their side of a thing and how they're right, and then their other person comes out and has their own story, and they both just look like fools.
Yeah, and then the audience is just laughing at them. And that's typically what is happening.
And if you're doing that, you'll slowly see people not inviting you out. They'll be like, oh, I just don't want to deal with them.
Yeah, who wants to be around people who just ridicule each other? It's so uncomfortable, so awkward, and you really can't say anything in the moment.
No.
You are just as trapped as the person being ridiculed.
Because they're pulling you into an intimate part of their relationship
that you should not be privy to.
Right. And that's why you can't say anything, because it's not appropriate. You know, it's sort of like, here's a picture of my spouse in their underwear. And you're like, well, what just happened?
Yeah, no, it's like, this is a picture of my spouse in their underwear. Don't they look ridiculous?
Yeah.
I mean, it's on top of the wound, you know, on top of the exposure to, you know, publicly. It is now this public wound that you are causing. And the partner can't say anything either. It's not like they can defend themselves.
Right.
So they have to just either laugh it off or ignore it.
But inside they crawl up and...
Oh, it's just like this knife going in deep. Yeah. So the fifth one, the fifth thing that can cause a lot of pain for your partner is rejection.
Rejection has many forms, and one form of rejection that is particularly painful is not including.
Yeah, going maybe with a bunch of people and not asking your partner if they want to come with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would be, you'd feel rejected, definitely.
Or, I'm going to go watch this movie. I'm not going to invite you to watch it with me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to do what I want, and, you know.
Yeah, not inviting your partner to join you in really anything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's one thing if you ask and they're like, no, that's okay, go ahead. It's fine, but, you know, not asking.
Right. You know, and then maybe your partner is doing dishes or something, they show up and you're like halfway into a movie and you're like, hey.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted to see that. And again, that's one of those things that might not seem like too big of a deal, but for the person that's being excluded, it really hurts.
There was that couple that watched that one show, and one of the partners went ahead.
Skipped ahead.
Yeah. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Skipped ahead on the show that they watched together.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a big fight.
So
that's pretty painful. That's a really
yeah.
That's just total rejection.
Yeah.
You know.
And then there's more blatant rejection. You know, especially rejection of your partner's character or flaws or wounds that they may have, instead of having compassion and empathy for it.
And acceptance. Yeah, you're just completely rejecting who they are as a person.
And I think that's a tricky one, because we all have things about us. I mean, maybe not me. Ray certainly has a lot that we could improve on, that we should improve on.
I didn't know what you were saying before you said it. That's funny. Is that public ridicule?
I think it is.
I think it is.
Publicly ridiculed you. And I'm joking, because it's not true. But that we do need our partner to call us out on something, but there's a difference of doing that in a way that is respectful versus a way that's ridicule.
Mm-hmm.
And those are tough things, because we all are doing things all the time that are hurting our partner.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Even if that's not the intention.
100%.
Right.
In all relationships, everywhere. And to me, that's one of the hardest things about being in this world, is knowing that I didn't know how much I might have hurt someone because I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't trying to. It wasn't an intention. It's not even till later, and they're like, well, I can't believe you didn't, like not getting invited to a party.
Yeah.
And you just forgot about the person or whatever it is. And you don't even know, like, oh my gosh, that person was really hurt by that. And maybe you're making a joke or you're not meaning to be ridiculing or whatever,
or rejecting.
And people feel it.
Right. So we want to thank you for joining us today. I hope that this information about the 5 things that cause the most amount of pain in a relationship was informative for you.
Yeah, we should probably do another podcast about what to do when you're in the position where you have been slighted by your partner and it really hurts and they're really not aware of it.
So we want to thank you for joining us today on Couples Synergy. Our passion is in helping couples and people have happy and healthy relationships, and this podcast gives us a fun way of bringing our knowledge and expertise to you, our listeners. For all of you listening, please let us know how you enjoyed the show. If you have any questions, comments, or topic suggestions, please email us at contact@couplessynergy.com. If you want to be guests on the show too, just email us at contact@couplessynergy.com. For more information about Couples Synergy and our programs such as Relationship 101, the home study course, the Couples Weekend Intensive, and our premier coaching program called Couple to Couple, look us up online at couplessynergy.com.
And if you know someone who could benefit from this episode, please download it and share it. And thank you for listening.
Until next time, synergize your life and synergize your love.
You have been listening to Couple Synergy with Dr. Ray and Jean Ketkodian. Couple Synergy was recorded, edited, and produced by Dr. Ray and Jean Ketkodian. Voiceover and music entitled Breathe and Let Go was recorded and composed by Gina Gonzalez.